Hey Sam.
Hey, how are you, brother?
Good, good. It's been well, at least a month. How you doing?
Everything's great. Yeah.
Good, good, good. We got a lot of one thing about real estate. It people love talking about it. Got so many good questions. So all right, I'm gonna get started. Are you ready, Sam?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay. You look like you just worked out. Did you just work out?
Earlier on today. It's been a few.
Did you? Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay. Are the condos around Square One area a good investment right now?
I would once again say you'd have to evaluate them on a case-by-case situation. So if somebody's sufficiently motivated, you can get a good deal. You'll have to be mindful of the supply and demand quotient. There's a lot of product coming to market, so you want to make sure that you're buying at a reasonable price, not overpaying. But I still think there's opportunities for sure, and I think it depends on price point and motivation.
Okay, perfect. Another question we got. What do you look for in a good community to invest in?
Well, you want to see a good infrastructure, and I think the key piece, and it's always difficult is to find the next best place where people are going to start migrating to. And when it's happened, it's sometimes too late. So if you have the ability to foreshadow or project where there's going to be some growth opportunities, clearly in Mississauga these days, I mean, prices have obviously elevated or escalated. Moving outward has been kind of in vogue, and that's why a lot of the outskirt areas have really seen pretty significant price appreciation. But I think it's trying to find a place which has good amenities, good schooling, easy access to the city, highways, all the above, and maybe in the infancy stage of the growth cycle as well.
Okay, perfect. There's a lot of what would Sam do questions. So if you're going to invest a property in either Port Credit, right, or the city center, where would you put your money?
I'm city center is nice. I mean, I think for a condo, you might consider that. I think for a house, Port Credit's a beautiful location. It's been revitalized, some great restaurants close to the lake. So I'm probably more bullish on Port Credit, but certainly city center has some nice positive attributes which will help see price appreciation as well.
Awesome. Okay, another question we have. What do you think of the two major communities in South Mississauga that's being built, Brightwater and PC, and the huge community in Lakeview? What do you think of those two?
It's interesting you mentioned that right now because the Brightwater community, I know one of the principals, Frank Giannoni, very well, and he's one of the four developers there. It's a great project, and when they hit market, they sell out within a day or two. So round one, we put 25 submissions in. We got 3 or 4, that got approved. So it just tells you the amount of demand there is there. So I think that's a great pocket, and same thing with Lakeview. It's just getting revitalized. It's just going to have really good upward potential. So I'm bullish on both locations and opportunities as well.
Yeah. Okay. And okay. So here's one. What region in the Golden Horseshoe is the hottest right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think westward, you're seeing some really good movement. Hamilton market's gotten really strong. Niagara on the Lake is exceptionally strong. Niagara's doing well. So, any of those pockets now, you've just seen really nice price appreciation. I think that's going to continue, and it's a sustainable growth as well.
Okay. Has these provincial staged openings, I guess, next Wednesday being stage 2, has it affected the real estate market at all?
Positively, surprisingly. So as COVID became a reality, we went through a couple of difficult months, but real estate's never been stronger, and we've adapted to our realities. We've taken all the necessary precautions from, well, obviously now everybody's getting vaccinated and double vaccinated, so that's making things much better, and we've seen the numbers go down significantly. But regardless, we were able to navigate and have some great real estate. That's continued. This first quarter for us, the first 4 months, was unprecedented. Been in the business 30 plus years, and it was as strong as we've ever seen. So it's slowed down a little bit now, which is natural, because when you saw so much, multiple offers and all the craziness that ensued, at some point it probably stabilized, which it has, but still a very fluid, good market as well.
Nice. So here's one. Mississauga is asking for a report on a possible benefit of having a land transfer tax, much like the City of Toronto has. Do you think the province will ever permit Mississauga to implement its own land transfer tax?
That'd be very disappointing. I think one of the draws, the 905 area codes, be it Mississauga or the other 905 municipalities, is that we're only paying one land transfer tax. I know at some point there's a need to raise additional capital to keep the budget intact for all our cities, but I think hitting land transfer tax would be a mistake because people are having a tough time, scrambling to get the funds to buy a property. The young generation's having difficulty getting in. That's just going to add an extra layer, which would make it more difficult. So I would hope that doesn't get passed, or I know they've had discussions in the past, but hopefully that doesn't come to fruition.
Okay. Obviously, there's been a huge pandemic over the last year. Everybody knows that. Why has the real estate market just stayed so strong? Like, why? Where are people getting the money?
It kind of defied what should have played out when it first, became a real last year, as we alluded to. We all thought as a team collectively we're in for the long run, and this would be a long process before we saw real estate come back to a normal level, but within a couple months it bounced back real quick. And I think two reasons, or maybe three reasons. One was interest rates are and have continued to remain at all-time lows. When you can get 5-year fixed money for 2% plus or minus, that's number two, supply was really low, and I think demand was pretty strong, so that also fueled the market. And I think the big event last year for me that I believe really helped move the market forward was the first 2-3 months. It was clear sales activity was down tremendous in terms of the number of transactions, but the message that came out was prices were stable. Prices did not go down. Volume went down, but prices stabilized. And I think that was the impetus for people to think, okay, we can now start buying because prices aren't going down. Contrary to what we thought, prices are stable, so let's get in the game. And I think that's what ensued. And then from there, much to our surprise, real estate has flourished beyond anything imaginable during what was a crazy pandemic.
True. This is more a question from me. Is that do you do cottage sales?
Cottage market's been on fire. I don't get involved as much myself, but within our team framework, we have a few team members who specialize in cottage sales, and we give those opportunities to our team members who know that segment of the market better than I do. But that's market to look at. But once again, be mindful, it's been really strong recently, so you don't want to buy at the height of the market. Just make a good decision. We also educated our buyers in the first quarter, exercise some caution and discipline, because this madness will subside and you'll see more normalcy. And if you went too crazy, did what it took to buy a place, then you might find yourself offside. You just have to be disciplined in real estate, and sometimes it's hard to do that, but it's an important discussion point as well.
Awesome. Another question we have here. We've been hearing that condos are selling very well in Mississauga. Is that true?
The condo market in Mississauga is much stronger than the GTA condo market. We saw a big turn last year. Most of the real estate flourished last year. The Toronto-based condo market was the only exception where it was stalled, and in fact, you saw some price depreciation. But Mississauga condo market's performing well. I wouldn't say as well as a COVID-friendly house where you have a backyard, etc., but there's still pretty good pent-up demand, and sales are still pretty brisk.
Okay. Has the stress test had any negative impact on the market?
Not yet. It's too early to call that, but truthfully, the differential of what they've proposed, in my opinion, isn't that meaningful. So the qualification process is a touch more stringent from an income perspective, but I don't think that's going to have a material impact on the market.
Okay. Here we're getting some last minute questions. Can a first-time home buyer actually have hope of buying a house?
I've said recently, I'm sad to see, the market being as strong as it is, and I do feel sorry for people trying to get in the market today, but I would really encourage you to try to find a way to get in the game, because once you're in the game, you can watch your real estate asset appreciate, then leverage that into another opportunity 3 to 5 years down the road. And even if it means going out or up, I think it's worthwhile owning some real estate. But also, having said that, be mindful just to exercise caution, as we talked about, not to overpay because you just have to get in. There's going to be always good buying opportunities. It's the age-old thing. If you have the ability or the courage to go against the masses, you'll succeed. So when everybody wants to buy, it's a great time to sell. When everybody wants to sell, maybe that's a good time to buy. But we almost seem to intuitively do the opposite, which doesn't lead us to having the best financial outcome. But I think if we have the courage to understand that concept, we'll do well. But get in the game at some point, get some good counsel, and real estate, without a shadow of a doubt, is the best long-term wealth creation vehicle.
Cool. And I'm sure you've been asked this question before: pool or no pool?
Wow, my answer might have changed now versus a couple of years ago. In the old days, we would say, you know, a pool, if you're going to be there for 10 years, you amortize your 10-year duration and you're going to get some benefit and enjoyment, do it. But really, it was always a break-even proposition. But if you talk to the pool companies today, they've got a big backlog, a year or two, because there's such demand with COVID. So I would say today, I'd probably give the similar answer, but understanding that, you know, you might add a bit of a lift on pricing for pools today versus a couple of years ago. You're not going to get a dollar for dollar out, but if you're going to enjoy it for a few years, you know, 5 years or so, it makes sense. If you're doing it just to sell, I had this question asked yesterday from a client friend of mine, and I said, honestly, don't do it just to sell, but if you're going to get some value, utility value over 5 years or so, then there might be some merit in having that discussion.
And talking about the game, you still love the game, eh? Because I know a couple of my friends are like, oh, I called the Sam McDadi office and Sam came to the door. You know, so, you know, you're still going out there, right? You enjoy the game.
Every day. I listen, when you're fortunate enough to find a labor of love, like I've been fortunate enough to have found, it doesn't feel like work. I meet with people, I view it like I'm having a nice friendly discussion, and we talk about real estate, you know, we get to talk about each other's lives, etc., and hopefully we transact. And yeah, I think if they give us the opportunity, they'll see that, you know, we're going to give them the best possible outcome. But yeah, I'm very, very passionate about this. It hasn't waned, which I'm really excited about. And I think the key for me, if there's realtors listening today, is that the elements of the business that I'm not so fond of, I take it off my plate and I delegate it so I stay fresh. So everything I do, I enjoy doing. And I think that's kind of the way I operate, and it allows me to feel good about the business, wake up every day revitalized and ready to go at it. And hopefully I do this for another 30, 40 years.
Nice. And the last question I have here is, what does your day-to-day look like? What does Sam do?
Well, Cal, we know that, you know, you and I both love to work out. So first thing in the morning, and I've been doing this for the last 6, 8 months during the pandemic, I get a massage first thing, then I do yoga, then I have a workout, and I've got a great team, and then I go into boxing. So my first 3, 4 hours are Sam time, and after that, I'm all in for work. And of course, my diet's really important for me as well. So I've been fortunate during the pandemic. Pre-pandemic, I was eating out a lot, etc., and I really enjoyed that. And I know you're a foodie for sure, but I've since hired a chef, and you know, everything's clean, and so I'm able to kind of eat exactly as I want and control that, and that's been fantastic as well. But really, my life is kind of, you know, fitness, health, you know, friends, family, and real estate. And I don't, you know, much. Yesterday I was with Nav. We were doing actually a Zoom workout, and you know, much like Nav, I don't smoke. Live a clean life as best we can. Not perfect, but we try the best we can. And I think, you know, whatever makes each person happy. Each person's happiness is defined differently. For me, I feel really good living this lifestyle. So
that's awesome. So those are all the questions I had. Do you have anything that you want to bring up or chat about?
I mean, you're always providing great information, and keep up the great work. And you know, I'm excited to bring a platform once a month, and hopefully I share great information for the people listening. And thank you for the opportunity today.
Yeah, no worries, Sam. Yeah, the last one got about 15,000 views, so combined. So, and oh, I was going to tell you that I didn't know you went to TL Kennedy.
Yeah, I did. Funny, with my brother for just like a semester or something, and then from there, you know, we trained. Yeah, I did actually. We played for the. Funny story, because you know, we're both playing tennis and we're pretty avid tennis players. My brother actually was a better player than me. He was number 2 in Canada, and he's VP.
Wow, okay.
Actually top 200 in the world. So, you know, he played at Rogers Center Court back in the day, and he coached Daniel Nestor, so he's had a pretty illustrious career. But we played doubles there for offsets, and my big goal was to win the offsets doubles. And my brother and I lost the quarters, and I was really heartbroken. But the year later, I played with another guy. We made the finals. We had match points, and we somehow choked it, and I didn't sleep for about a week, because that was the goal. The year that I was there as well too. So
we're both TLK alum then.
You got it.
All right, sir. Sam McDadi, the #1 real estate agent in the GTA. Okay. Later, sir.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.